Any questions?
No, sir.
All right. சரி, அன்னைக்கு ஏதாவது இது கொண்டு வந்து கொடுத்தனடா? Anything to be பார்த்துட்டோங்கன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தேனா? What did I tell you?
What are greenhouse gases in Earth, Sami?
What are greenhouse gases? Then so last class we talked about air quality index, net zero, and we have something called as National Air Quality Monitoring Program. And as part of that, I had given you, I asked you to see what are the greenhouse gases. Then pollution levels. Go into what is pollution. Pollution, what are the different forms of pollution? Noise pollution is part of air pollution. I told you to look into different pollution levels and noise pollution levels in there. So these are all the things which have been asked in the prelims already. These are all some of the things which have been already asked. So take care of them. Aprama, I told you we have to look into Pandatpuri Patama. Forest survey report batam. I told you to look into the details of various that also you must take care. Hope it's clear, right? Then next on the fuel cells, right? What are fuel cells? Because there is something called as National Hydrogen Mission, and hydrogen as an alternative fuel is being discussed. And as part of that, we are having fuel cells, and because of the increasing fossil fuel cost, as well as the idea of what do you call that? Electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are increasing. The number of electric vehicles is increasing. So what are electric vehicles? Why electric vehicles are increasing? Due to pollution again. That's why I told you pollution is important. What are the different forms of pollution? Air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution. NCERT book. Probably I'm sharing the link of the NCERT book on the Telegram. Telegram is not the red chapter you can see what are pollutions of being in the you can look into. See, pollution is any undesirable change in physical, chemical, or biological characters of air, land, water, or soil. Agents that bring such undesirable change are called as pollutants. And in India, we have the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. To improve the quality of environment, air pollution and its control. Next chapter. The last message on the open panna environmental issues chapter and the chapter you can see that. All right, go into that. Try to understand the air pollution control Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Yeah, noise is an understand one. A brief exposure to extremely high sound level, 150 decibels or more generated by takeoff of a jet plane or rocket may damage eardrums, thus permanently impairing hearing ability. In the this kind of issues are probable and most likely questions. What is the level of air pollution? What is the level of இதுங்கிறது அது மாதிரி பாரத் ஸ்டேஜ் 6 வந்திருக்கா இப்போ? What is Bharat stage 6? Bharat stage 6 emission control என்ன?
So, engine manufacturing low level of emissions like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide difference BS 446. மற்ற இருக்கிற அந்த நைட்ரஜன் ஆக்சைடு கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு மூணுமே வந்துட்டு BS 4 கம்பேரிட்டிவ்லி கம்மியா இருக்கும்.
What are the pollutants that are found in the exhaust of a vehicle? Guys online, can you hear me? Are you able to understand what I'm telling you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is BS6 emission norms? புரியுதா? BS6 emission norms என்னன்னு பார்த்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா அதுல வந்து you will get the pollutants. What are the pollutants that are found in the exhaust of a motor vehicle? அப்ப again you will get a reinforcement of what is the difference in the other pollutants or list கிடைக்கும். You get the list of pollutants that are found in the ஒரு சின்ன டேபிள் ஐ எம் ஷேரிங் த டேபிள் வித் யூ இந்த டெலிகிராம் குரூப் ஜஸ்ட் செக். ஐயோ அந்த டேபிளாகவே வரல. doesn't matter. I probably give you the table as a table in the while sharing the PPT for today's class. I'll share this. So nitrogen oxide, particulate matter, then hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides. முக்கியமா nitrogen oxides தான் most important aspects relating to BS6 and BS4. So what I'm trying to tell you is try to understand what are the different pollutants that are found in the vehicle exhaust. So these are all aspects relating to COP27 as well as the air quality index yesterday related. And these are the reasons why we are going in for fuel cells. Fuel cells have been asked in the mains also. Another concept of fuel cell has been in news for more than 25 years. In fact, when we were preparing fuel cell was the news. And நாங்க எழுதும்போது fuel cell mainsல கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. What are fuel cells and what are the advantages of having fuel cells eventually? So this is still alive, and this year it is again becoming alive. Right? So the main idea is that when oxygen, nitrogen are combusting, hydrogen is combusted with oxygen as an oxidizer and hydrogen as fuel, the net output product will be water, which is not a pollutant. Basically, hydrogen as a fuel is better to use. Clear? So a fuel cell is an electrochemical energy. So now try to understand what is electrochemical energy. What is electrochemical energy? So motor combustion engine what energy is converted into which energy? Normally when you use in your bike or in your car, which form of energy is converted into which form?
mechanical energy conversion.
Heat into mechanical, mechanical into heat.
Heat. Heat.
சரி, அது மாதிரி பார்த்துக்கோங்க. Again, it can give you motor பத்தி. If you go and read your again in school books, it will give you. That's why I told you science வந்து you need not study a science book. Go ahead and read science books. For example, if someone has studied only arts, science question என்ன சார் பண்றது? Doesn't matter. Go to the current affairs. From the current affairs, take the science issues. இதெல்லாம் easy to understand. These are all related to the day-to-day life. So this we call as day-to-day science. So day-to-day science இருக்கறனால it is easy to catch and you don't have to study them technically. There is nothing technical involved here. So fuel cells are galvanic cells that convert energy of combustion of fuels like hydrogen, methane, methanol, etc. directly into electrical energy, which are called as fuel cells. So fuel cells fuel can be hydrogen, methane or methanol. But however, we prefer to use hydrogen-based fuel cells because methane and methanol are again hydrocarbons. So hydrocarbons are the main reasons for pollution of the air, and therefore we are shifting to hydrogen as a fuel. And Apollo space program used fuel cells for powering satellites and water vapor produced during the reaction was condensed and was used for drinking purposes by the astronauts. The fuel cells electricity with an efficiency of about 70% compared to thermal plants whose efficiency is about 40%. Other fuel cells power generating capacity and efficiency is much more than thermal power energy. Because thermal power energy can have the efficiency of about 40%, whereas fuel cells are having efficiency to the extent of 70%. And so petrol and diesel engines make carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide being a greenhouse gas is a reason for global warming, and therefore we are shifting to hydrogen as a fuel. So both the the hydrogen cars will produce harmless exhaust gas, which is water vapor, so which is not going to be a problem. So benefits of hydrogen in the PPTs, I think I've shared with you in the last class PPT share பண்ணிட்டு உங்களை பார்த்துட்டு சொன்னேன் இல்லையா? Did you go through? Those are online. Have you gone through that?
Yes, sir.
So ஒரு slide இருக்கும் பாரு, benefits and challenges. There are 5 benefits and 6 challenges. While benefit is reduced greenhouse emissions and high reliability and flexibility in installation operation, development of renewable energy source and reduces demand for foreign oil. So it will be a saver of forex as well. And hydrogen is widely available. However, the challenges as a fuel, we do not know whether it is a reliable fuel or not because the hydrogen power has not been a mature technology, mass production technology. And to produce hydrogen as a fuel, we do not have the raw material, which is as of now is very expensive, and so the production cost is also very high. We don't have the infrastructure and storage facilities. To what extent we have the infrastructure? Do we really have the infrastructure as of now? No, we don't have the infrastructure for the production of hydrogen as well as to store. And as I already told you, its reliability as a source of energy is still questionable because it is not a mature fuel. We have not tested hydrogen as a fuel, and we have not also understood whether hydrogen as a fuel can be totally dependable or not. That is the main issue. Is that clear? Those are online?
Yes, sir.
Let me sum it up. The 2 chapters what I have shared, the second chapter gives you almost everything what is required for pollution related. Pollution related ellame koduthu, even Bharat stage 4 kuda irukadula. BS standards is also given in the book, but unfortunately it talks only about BS 4 level da. And there are water pollution, and there is an act called Water Act, Prevention and Control of Pollution of Water Act. Then what are the pollutants that pollute water and what are the pollutants that pollute soil? Ellame irukku. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Tomorrow let us again revisit this. Next on the project Gaganyaan mission. See, Gaganyaan mission la very simple. Gaganyaan mission na enna paathukonga. It's a India's mission for, it is delayed due to COVID lockdown. So it was supposed to be launched by 2020, launch pannirukano, but because of the COVID lockdown, this Gaganyaan program is delayed and we are now replanning it. Gaganyaan as well as Chandrayaan 3. A human mission to space. The India human mission to space is Gaganyaan. And Gaganyaan will be in low Earth orbit. And GSLV Mark 3 will be the launch vehicle to be used for Gaganyaan. That much is enough. But now here, allied information from where the questions can come is about the space orbits. What do you mean by low Earth orbit? And what are the different orbits? And I'll share a PPT to you. Just give me a moment. I've shared a picture. The picture apart there are different orbits. Low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, above geostationary orbit. So first of all, geostationary orbit. So what is this geostationary orbit? Geostationary orbit na enna? It's simple. A geostationary orbit is one in which the communication satellites are placed. Telecommunication satellites and weather satellites are placed in the geostationary orbit. And if you look at the name itself is self-explanatory. It is geostationary. When you look at, when it is viewed from the Earth, the satellite in the geostationary orbit will appear to be stationary. Because this geostationary orbit, a satellite on this geostationary orbit will rotate around the Earth with the same pace of Earth's rotation speed. Earth's rotation speed, Earth rotates along about its axis. It takes about 23 hours or 24 hours, close to 23 hours, 56 minutes and 4 seconds. The satellite will also take the same time to make one revolution around the Earth. So therefore, when you look at the satellite from the Earth, it appears to be stationary. It doesn't appear to move. That is why it is known as, so it appears to be stationary. That's why this orbit is called as geostationary orbit. And geostationary orbits are equatorial orbits in long. It's sometimes referred to as equatorial orbit is because it is exactly above the equator of Earth at around 36,000 kilometers from the Earth. Its surface is 36,000 kilometers. Mostly this is used for placing communication satellites and weather satellites, so that it will be easy for us to have one antenna pointed towards the satellite, and that satellite and the communication will be uninterrupted. So geostationary orbits it is highly populated orbit, and the problem of geostationary orbit is that we have the space debris, a very limited space. So space debris, as of now, in the space debris, a few years back, space debris was more considered to be an important issue that world has to address, various countries has to address. But as of now, not many countries are very active in launching space satellites, especially for weather and communication satellites. So therefore, the club of countries that are space potential are very limited as of now. But still, ஏன்னா ஸ்பேஸ்ல வந்து ஒரு சேட்டலைட் வச்சுட்டோம்னா once the satellite loses its lifespan, right, when the satellite's lifespan expires, the satellite cannot be brought back. வெளியே எடுக்க முடியாது. அதனால அது அங்கேயே தான் சுத்திட்டு இருக்கும். ஸோ அதனாலதான் வந்து they found few techniques like co-location of the satellites in order to avoid the multiple satellites. Orbit ஒரே ஆர்பிட் தானே, there's only one orbit. Above the equator தான் இருக்கணும், 36,000 kilometers தான் இருக்கணும்னா there is only one orbit. There is a very limited availability of the orbit. Therefore, not many satellites can be that. That is going to be a bigger issue in future. Few years back, it was discussed as a very, very important issue, but unfortunately, that has not been taken into account, or that has not been considered as of now. So anyway, பார்க்கலாம், but mind lo வச்சுக்கோங்க. Have this in your mind. The second is low earth orbit. Low earth orbitங்கிறது வந்து about 1000 kilometersல இருக்கும். Low earth orbitங்கிறது வந்து about 1000 kilometers from above the earth இருக்கும். Up from around 160 kilometers to 1000 kilometers வரைக்கும். About 1000. இப்போ நம்மளோட ஏரோப்ளேன்ஸ்ல இருக்குல்ல, the aeroplanes will fly at the level of around 10 to 12 kilometers above the earth. 35,000 feetல இருந்து 40,000 feetக்குள்ள an aircraft flies at around 35,000 feet to 40,000 feet, depending upon the capacity of the aircraft. But normally all the aircrafts may go up to the level of 35,000, except this turbine aircrafts. Turbine aircrafts கொஞ்சம் கம்மியா இருக்கும், 28,000 kilometers, 28,000 feet வரைக்கும் போகும். Meaning the air turbines with the fan வச்சு போதுல குட்டி aircrafts, அதெல்லாம் they go up to around 7 to 8 kilometers, up to 9 kilometers வரைக்கும் above the earth they'll fly, whereas the aircrafts will fly at around, other bigger aircrafts will fly at around 10 to 12 kilometers above the sea, above the earth surface. And these low earth orbits are above the airplane's cruising level, but less than 1000 kilometers. So 160 kilometers la irundhu 1000 kilometers varaikkum it will be called as low earth orbit. Normally the space stations and human missions they are placed, for example, Hubble Space Telescope, the International Space Station, they are all placed in the low earth orbit only. The reason is it is a closer. Astronauts போறதுக்கு வந்து it is a shorter distance they have to travel. Shorter distance they travel, and it is easy for transportation. Going and coming back will be easier. Going and coming back will be easier. Therefore, low earth orbit is generally preferred, and it is commonly used for such satellites. And India is also, Gaganyaan will also be in the low earth orbit. All right. Then comes a medium earth orbit. Medium earth orbit go polar sun synchronous orbit. Polar sun synchronous orbit and medium earth orbit, they share a common feature that, like geostationary orbit, it is not limited. Sun synchronous orbits and medium earth orbits on the earth la eppadi venalum pogum, can go any direction. சரி, மீடியம் எர்த் ஆர்பிட்னா it is இப்போ low earth orbit ஓட it is higher than the low earth orbit but lesser than geo. geostationary earth orbit இருக்குல, geostationary earth orbit சொல்லுவோம்ல, அந்த ஜியோக்கும் மீடியம் எர்த் low earth orbitக்கும் இடையில இருக்கிறதா மீடியம் எர்த் ஆர்பிட். அதே போல போலார் ஆர்பிட் ஆர் போலார் சன் சின்க்ரோனஸ் ஆர்பிட்ங்கிறது என்னன்னா, போல்ஸ் ரஃப்லி ஓவர் த போல்ஸ் போச்சுன்னா it is called as polar. The satellite will revolve around the earth, covering the poles, crossing the poles. So இது எப்படி வேணாலும் போலாம், இப்படியும் போலாம், இப்படி போலாம், எப்படி வேணாலும், in all directions it can go, but only thing is that it will cross the north pole and south pole. And there are certain orbits called polar sun synchronous orbit. So geostationary orbits madri, the sun synchronous orbits are synchronized with the sun. Meaning a satellite in the sun synchronous orbit will come to the point upon the earth at the same time every 24 hours. So for example, a satellite is viewing Chennai at around 12 noon today. Every day 12 noon, the satellite will be on over Chennai. Sun follow பண்ணும். Where all the sunlight is at, the polar sun synchronous orbit will be polar sun synchronous orbit. The orbit will be covering the poles, but it will be synchronized with sun. The swap will be covering the sun, so that it will be always exposed to light. That's why it's called as polar sun synchronous orbits. Most of the Indian remote sensing satellites are in polar sun synchronous orbit. PSLV most of the satellites which are remote sensing satellites are in the polar sun synchronous orbits. Now, here you have to also understand India's space program. That is important for your mains as well. India's space program also is important. So இதுல மெயின்ஸ்க்கு பாத்துக்கோங்க. India's space program மெயின்ஸ்க்கு பாத்துச்சுங்க. Prelims it can be asked. Prelims என்ன கேட்கலாம்னா, what are the major space satellites what we are using? The spacecrafts. What are the spacecrafts we are using? கேட்கலாம். மற்றபடி மெயின்ஸ்ல it can be asked about. It can be asked. India space program, because in the COVID lockdown time there were many satellites which were also launched. 2-3 satellites launched பண்ணோம். இப்போ EOS 4 Earth observation satellite 4 launch பண்ணோம். எப்போ 2022 Feb 2022. So it will be better if you understand that for your mains as well. So what are the different satellites? We will discuss little later. Adukku edela I am just giving you as a prelude. Just go through the mark space program for your mains also. Prelims ku enna varumgodhu we will see. Orbits ku aprom we will maybe tomorrow we shall discuss about various space satellites, but I am giving this to you as an assignment. Go through last 2 years what are all the satellites that were launched. அப்புறம் ISRO centers. ஏன் மெயின்ஸ்க்கு சொல்றேன் அப்படின்னா, இந்தியா ஸ்பேஸ் ப்ரோக்ராம் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆனதுல இருந்து 50 years ஆச்சு. 60 years. We are celebrating platinum jubilee. The India space program began in 1962. All right. So 2022, along with the 75th anniversary of India's independence, they are also celebrating their platinum. அதனால பார்த்துக்கோங்க, 60 years completion is an important milestone. So it can be, there can be a question in here. If supposing, see, there are only three options. Only they can ask in mains, or they can ask in prelims, or they will leave it comfortably. Because if it is too obvious, then they will leave it. But my opinion, the space issue has been totally, we have been obsessed with this COVID and other stuff, and we have totally forgotten this developments in the space. Finally, look into that. Look into that. What are the satellites that were launched during the unlock period, lockdown period, open up achla. On the time, 2-3 satellites were launched. Latest being the US 4. And India is a country that is earning highest 4x earner. Highest 4x earner out of space assets is India, Antariksh Corporation. So, then Chandrayaan 2 is being planned. Gaganyaan is being planned. Chandrayaan 2 is planned. Why I am telling you this is because they may comfortably leave it near Solrana. Sometimes these questions will be reserved for mains, interview. On the one hand, we have economic setback due to COVID. And we have huge population who are below poverty line. In spite of it, is it really needed for India to go for such bigger missions, very expensive missions like building its own aircraft carrier, Chandrayaan or Gagan mission? Space human being by now.
Sir, அது ஒரு ஸ்பேஸ் மிஷன்ல நம்ம பண்ற இது வந்து நம்ம லோக்கல் லெவல்ல இருக்க அக்ரிகல்ச்சர் செக்டார்
human
அதோட அப்ளிகேஷன் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா
ஹியூமன் பீயிங்ஸ் அங்க போறதுனால என்ன ஆகுது?
இந்த டெக்னாலஜி ஒன்று மாஸ்டர்
Roughly about 50 years back, Yuri Gagarin took the space mission. First human space mission to first human mission to space was Yuri Gagarin. He made one orbit around Earth and came back in 1961-62. And USA had mission on moon in 1969. USA Neptune, Pluto, space satellite அனுப்புறான். என்ன யூஸ்? See, at the level of knowledge and education, yes, it is useful. But a country like India, should we have to do that is a question. That interview, not required, but I'm telling you the reason. Got it? They may ask, they may not ask. If they did not ask, this could be the reason. I hope it's clear to you. All right? Sure. So, ISRO satellites, tomorrow we are discussing satellites which were launched in detail. Next one on the Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. So, who is Aurobindo Ghosh? Yesterday you must have studied Aurobindo Ghosh.
So, India's maiden freedom fighter.
Seri, apro.
Education sectors.
See, basically this year is Aurobindo Ghosh. There are 3-4 people whose 150th, 3 people whose 150th birth anniversary is being celebrated. 115 Sulamlima Ama. Viva Chidambaram, 150th birthday. Aurobindo Ghosh, 150th birth anniversary. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, 125th birth anniversary. Subramania Bharati, 100th death anniversary. 4 பேரும் பார்த்துக்கோங்க. Now here, what you have to see is, for example, for Aurobindo Ghosh Najipur. Aurobindo Ghosh was born and brought up in England. He was more inspired by the Irish freedom struggle. And After having returned to India, he joined the Baroda State Service. But after that, he became, he had always, he had the idea of, what do you call that? Uh, Sorry, independence and freedom. He always had the idea, independence and freedom. அப்ப இதுல independence and freedom இருக்கிறதுனால he wrote on which are all the newspapers he wrote or edited or he was heading, and which were the organizations he was associated with. He was associated with Anusilan Samiti. What is Anusilan Samiti?
Newspaper. What? பார்க்கணும் first வந்து என்ன newspaper?
In newspapers, one, which in case they wrote on any newspaper or they edited any newspaper, you should understand that. And which are the organizations they are associated with. Three, any major events they are associated with. For example, Arvind Ghosh was involved, he was arrested in the Alipur conspiracy case. What is Alipur conspiracy case? When you study freedom struggle, you will be studying about two phases of revolutionary terrorism. Immediately after the suspension of non-cooperation movement, from 93 to 31, there used to be revolutionary terrorism. அப்போ வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா more of individuals taking to revolutionary path. All right. And second is after the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, from 1931 to 40. During that time, we find revolutionary organizations. First phase la individual heroism, second phase la organizations. So, in the past, they have asked the chronological order of various conspiracy cases. The killings and conspiracy, they have asked in chronological order, or they have asked who were all involved in that, personalities involved, or the chronological order. So, you must have studied them. Yeah, what are the conspiracy cases? Alipur conspiracy case, what are the other conspiracy cases in Indian history?
Alipur conspiracy case. Delhi conspiracy case. Kanpur. Chittagong, Armory Line. Meerut conspiracy case.
So, who were all involved?
Alipur பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அரவிந்த் கோஷ் ஒன்று, அதுக்கப்புறம் Profula Chakki
Profula Chakki.
அவர்தான்
அப்புறம்
சிட்டகாங் ஆர்மரி ரைடு வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சூர்யா.
ஓகே.
இந்த கப்போலி கான்ஸ்பிரசி வந்துட்டு இவங்க கம்யூனிஸ்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. பாக்ஸு டிடி பாக்ஸ்
டிடி பாக்ஸ் டேய்
கம்யூனிஸ்ட்
What it is you have idea? Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is go for a table. Individual terrorism, individual heroism, and organizations. Individual heroism 1931, 1923 to 30. அப்போதான் பகத்சிங், சுக்தேவ் அவங்கெல்லாம் வருவாங்க. லேட்டஸ்ட் ஸ்டேஜஸ்ல ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் வரும். ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் வரும்போது ஹெச்ஆர்ஏ, ஹெச்எஸ்ஆர்ஏ, ஹெச்ஆர்ஏ கன்வெர்டட் டு ரீநேம்ட் அஸ் ஹெச்எஸ்ஆர்ஏ. யாரு? சந்திரசேகர் ஆசாத். யாரு?
ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ஸ் தானே
யார்
சூரியமோ வரும்.
ஆர்கனைசேஷன் இருப்பாங்க, பட் அவங்க வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவல் டெரரிசம் தான் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஆர்கனைசேஷன் அதை என்கரேஜ் பண்ணாது. அசம்பிளி ஃபார்ம் கேஸ்ல அவங்களா போய் பண்றது தானே. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து அவங்க போய் பிளேக் இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் கொள்வாங்க இல்லையா, யாரு, லாகூர் சாண்டர்ஸ் மர்டர் கேஸ். Inspector Sanders was the one who beat Lala Lajpat Rai to death during the anti-Rowlatt Act movement. So to take revenge of that, Bhagat Singh and others, they decide to kill him. So Lahore la poi avanga konnuvaanga. After that, that's what I'm telling you. Try to understand the chronological order, people involved, and what was it. இப்போ கக்கோரி கான்ஸ்பிரசி கேஸ்னா என்ன, இப்போ அலிப்பூர் கான்ஸ்பிரசி, what for the அலிப்பூர் கான்ஸ்பிரசி, what was the case about? First is chronology. First Alipura, Kakoria, Delhi conspiracy, Lahore conspiracy. That chronology you have to understand. Second, who are all the persons involved. Third, what for it was, and whether it was successful or not. Successful or not, you leave it. That is only for you to remember. ஒரு மார்க்கர் மாதிரி ரிமெம்பர் பண்றதுக்கு, அது சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா இல்லையா ஃபெயிலியரான்னு பார்த்துக்கோங்க. அதர்வைஸ் வாட் ஃபார், இப்போ அலிப்பூர் கான்ஸ்பிரசி கேஸ் வாஸ் டு assassinate the chief presidency magistrate. The chief presidency magistrate கொல்றதுக்கு தான் அவங்களுடைய லாஜிக். Khudiram Bose and Prafulla Chakya, those two were the important people who were master brains of Alipur conspiracy case, in which Aurobindo Ghosh, whether he was involved or not தெரியாது, but he was included and later acquitted. But after that, Aurobindo Ghosh came to இங்க வந்துருவாரு, சந்திரகிரி எங்க வருவாரு, வந்துட்டு அப்புறமா he comes and settles down பாண்டிச்சேரி. Aurobindo Ghosh வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு கான்ட்ரவர்சியல் freedom fighter. There are people who don't accept that Aurobindo Ghosh is a freedom fighter because he escaped British. He's basically an Englishman. He was educated in England, so he is more to English. Usually, ஒரு critical evaluation இருக்கு. That is not required for our purpose. தள்ளிப்போடு. But and Aurobindo Ghosh வந்து also make note of Aurobindo Ghosh for ethics paper in the mains, because his philosophies are more. He had the philosophy of he had come out with the theory of spiritual nationalism. He considers patriotism or nationalism as a religion. Okay, spiritual nationalism, more influenced by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, who wrote the Anand Math play. We have taken the Vande Mataram poem, which is the national song for India. So he has come out with something called as a theory of spiritual nationalism. So his concept of freedom, his concept of theory of spiritual nationalism, இதெல்லாமே வந்து they are more meant for your mains ethics paper. So there are few things which he has talked about. He equates nation, he equates a country to mother, and mother goddess. How he equates country to mother goddess, and how you will be very loyal to your mother, sincere to your mother. So much you should be loyal and sincere to your nation. Similarly, he talks about practicing of patriotism, like you should practice it like how you practice your religion. நிறைய சொல்லிருப்பாரு. அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் he settles down for this mother goddess, and he establishes the ashram in Auroville, Pondicherry. So if not in the prelims, if not in history, if your option is history, chances are more. And he was more of Vedantic influence உள்ளாளு. He was more influenced by teachings of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. Right? So அதனால have this idea, right? And he questioned Congress. Though he did not oppose Congress, he always had a critical thinking about Congress. Congress சொல்ல முடியாது. The leaders of freedom struggle of that time period, predominantly Congress leaders. He was critical of their aims and objectives, and he was of the view that the composition of Congress is more of the Indian bourgeois. Indian intellectual, educated, middle class are more components of Congress, which is not proletariat and mass based. So therefore, Congress has to reformulate its strategy in Sonare. He was also questioning the motives of the leaders who led Congress, then their methods. The passive resistance law on the he was little critical about it. So he was writing, he was associated with the Anushlan Samiti. He acted as an editor for Vande Mataram. Then he wrote in Yugantar magazine, Yugantar newspaper. And he was very much influenced by and inspired by Bala Gangadhar Tilak. More than Gandhi, he was influenced by Tilak. அதனாலதான் அவருடைய வியூ பாயிண்ட்ஸ் ஆஃப் அரவிந்த் கோஷ் ரிலேட்டிவ் டு ஃப்ரீடம் அண்ட் idea of Bal Gangadhar Tilak about freedom are similar. They resemble each other. They both regard freedom as birthright. All right. And he also wrote an Anglo-Marathi paper called Hindu Prakash. So, VOC, Bharati, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Arvind Ghosh. 4 personality போட்டுக்கோங்க. You can create an Excel sheet. Right? Important அவங்களுடைய thought process, அவங்களுடைய philosophy and principles. இப்போ விவோஸ் எடுத்துக்கிட்டேன்னா அவர் வந்து passive resistance தான். He will discourage violence. இப்போ அரவிந்த கோஷோ அல்லது நேதாஜி சுபாஷ் சந்திர போஸோ அப்படி சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. Violence is acceptable if it is required. And if there were any organizations they were associated with, that organization, even if it is a Congress party, organization, organization. Then whether they had been presidents of Congress in case they were in Congress. VOC had never been. But Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as president in 1937. But against? Candidate here. Was fielded by Gandhi. Patabi Sitaramaya. And Patabi Sitaramaya lost the elections. Netaji was elected. But because of that, Gandhi என்ன சொல்லிட்டாருன்னா ஜெனரல் பார்ட்டி காங்கிரஸ் மீட்டிங் நடக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி Gandhi told that it is my defeat. So Netaji took that as a cue and he resigned and he went off. Abraham, he started the INA. Right? Then, what are the major events, whether he was a Congress president or not, if so, when? Abraham, newspapers, they had written any newspapers, journals. Did they run? Did they write? Right? So these are all the areas of questions. Clear? Netaji's philosophy is also something that can be asked in ethics paper. We will discuss Netaji tomorrow. History book lo poi idella paatittu muttum vandu. So I have told you to go through the conspiracy cases, their chronological order, people involved in that, organization involved in that, and what for, whether it was successful or not. Chittagong armory raid, successful or failure? Who were all involved? Kakori conspiracy case. Kakori conspiracy case என்னது?
கம்யூனிஸ்ட் பார்ட்டி.
அது என்னது? எதுக்கா? Looting of
Looking of arms and good.
Arms and money.
Gold.
Arms and gold money. யாருன்னு பாருங்க. ககோரி கான்ஸ்பிரசி, டெல்லி கான்ஸ்பிரசி, லாகூர் கான்ஸ்பிரசி, இது எல்லாமே பாத்துக்கணும் ரைட்டா. they have asked it long back. They have asked ஒரு point of timeல வந்து இந்த கான்ஸ்பிரசி கேசஸ் இருக்குல, very cost question for UPSC question setter. It can be repeated also. If you have any doubts na, go to 1990s. You will be having the question paper booklet with you. Go to 1990s question papers. You can see all these conspiracy cases in the question, how it has been appearing. It can be repeated. Take care. Right? Sure. Next one, Jan Jatiya Gaurav Divas. November 15th is celebrated as in the 2021 year. It has been declared that Jan Jatiya Gaurav Divas na tribal day, tribal honor day, honoring the tribes. See, this November 15th is the birth anniversary of Birsa Munda. So to recognize the contribution of the tribal leaders to the freedom struggle in various parts of the country, they're going to set up 10 different states, like 10 different museums. And the first museum of Birsa Munda Museum was inaugurated in Ranchi. This is again a question for both prelims and mains. Prelims la, who are all the tribal leaders, tribal movements engala nadanduchu? Which are all the famous tribal movements? Munda uprising, then Santal uprising, then Khol uprising, then
Sannyasi.
Sannyasi tribal கிடையாது. History எடுத்து பார்த்துட்டு நாளைக்கு வா. Tomorrow when you come to the class, come with the information. History la போய் definitely இதெல்லாம் மிஸ் பண்ண சான்ஸே இல்லை. You cannot miss. Any history book will give this information to you and you will definitely study. You will not miss it. What are the different tribal uprisings? And mains பொறுத்த வரைக்கும், what are tribal uprisings? Peasant uprisings. Peasant movements, tribal movements பார்த்துக்கோங்க. So tribal movements, இதெல்லாம் mass movements ல வரும். Mass movements ல வரும். Mass movements, there are two types of mass movements. One is, or rather three types of mass movements. One is the politically organized mass movement, another peasant movement, and third is tribal movement. இல்ல mass movementல வந்து political ஏதோ தள்ளிடுவோம். Tribal uprising and peasant movements வச்சுக்குவோம். Peasant movementsல anti zamindari movement, anti money lender movement, and the two types clear. I remember having already told you. Zamindari area la there will be anti zamindari movement. Rayatwari and Mahalwari movement area la there will be anti money lender movement, and boycott used to be the most important. In fact, boycott on the Arvind Ghosh also advocated boycott as a very important method of protest. So what are all the tribal uprisings in India? And idoda extrapolation enna, if not the tribal movements, they can ask you the tribes of different regions. Who are all the different tribes in different regions?
Central Asia.
Basic minimum, the 10 museums where all it is going to be set up. அந்த ஏரியால இருக்க ட்ரைப்ஸ் ஆச்சும் Right? So Santal tribes, Gonds, Kols, அப்புறம் மகாராஷ்டிரால இன்னொன்று இருக்குமே கோல்ஸ் தவிர பில் அப்ரைசிங். பில் அப்ரைசிங்.
புகார்
கோல் அப்ரைசிங், சந்தால் அப்ரைசிங், முண்டா அப்ரைசிங். அப்புறம் குட்டி குட்டியா நிறைய இடத்துல நடக்கும். The Bill revolt, Coles revolt, Mapla uprising already we have seen. Yeah. Ramosi uprising. Right? So go to the history book. You cannot miss it. You will have it in the NCERT books for sure. And what were the who were the major uprisings பார்க்கும்போது, which are all the uprisings, which region it was in, and who were the tribes and who were the leaders. Four important fifth one is reason, causes. These 5 points you take. Questions can be here only. என்னடா சொன்னேன்? திருப்பி சொல்லு. Reasons and causes. இதுல நான் சொல்லல. Tribal uprising, I did say the chronological order. For tribal uprising, I told you the region in which it took place, the tribes who were involved in, the leaders, the causes and reasons, outcome. See, these are the 5 things. For the prelims, this can be asked. Right? And for the mains, these are the 5 points you are going to write. For the mains, you can add one more. Causes பண்ணிரல, outcome பண்ணிரல, outcome-க்கான reasons. அதான் analysis. Why they failed. All the tribal movements failed. Why they failed. அதெல்லாம் ஸ்டார்ட் பாயிண்ட் எடுத்தோடனே சொல்லிடலாம். Number 1,
unorganized.
Okay, unorganized.
இது எதுக்கு பண்றோம்? இது முடிச்சிட்டு நம்ம அடுத்த லிஸ்ட்
No action plan. They did not have a clear cut action plan. 3, inequality with respect to arms.
ஆமா, inequality with respect to arms.
It was more of impulsive rather than organized. 4,
clear leader direction.
leader direction இருந்தாலுமே it was not a mass movement because it was isolated uprisings தான். It was not a all inclusive movement. Only tribes தானே. So other non-tribes did not support. It never got a political support or political idea. Then what will be the next point? Why they failed? Their objective was very narrow. Nationalism லாம் கிடையாது. Today we are using it as nationalism நம்ம பார்க்கிறோம். Such as the tribes பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் the movements they never viewed or they never envisaged India as a huge country and nationalism லாம் கிடையாது. We are recognizing them today because it was more against the British. It was a resistance against British. இவ்வளவுதான் பாயிண்ட். மெயின்ஸ்க்கே இதுதான். If you take these 6 points along with these stock points, then I question, இப்ப நம்ம பேசணும்ல 5 points, எல்லாம் points பேசணும். Why they failed? In the 5 points are stock points. You can apply to any any movement, even peasant movements kuda. At least in peasant movements, you will have some positive outcome like tenancy act being enacted, etc. Tribal movements la adume irukadu. The British were mightier than the tribes who were unorganized groups. These are all the 5 or 6 points which will comprehensively cover this topic for your prelims and mains together. So tribal uprisings because of Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, that is tribal honoring day, which is to be celebrated on November 15th every year, which falls on the birth anniversary of Birsa Munda. Now, Janjatiya Divas Sultama, the question is, this year, why it is in news, Abdina, from 2021, this tribal honoring day has been inaugurated. It was the first. Next year, will they ask? We do not know. But this year, it is in current affairs. Birsa Munda. Who was he? Who are Mundas? If you go to the NCERT book, they'll talk about Birsa Munda பத்தி இருக்கும். Munda definitely இருக்கு. Munda pressing definitely இருக்கு. They called the outsiders. Particularly, they were annoyed by the outsiders. The landlords, the traders, the merchants, government officers, and other middlemen, who the tribes called as Dikus. Who the tribes called as Dikus. And what happened with this was, Forest Rights Act, we have something called as Forest Rights Act. What is the problem of Forest Rights Act is that it is taking away the customary right of the tribes. That exactly happened during British as well. That was why one of the most other costs. So go through that. Again, we'll revisit and revise tomorrow. History, definite up. I don't have to tell you, you must have studied history. I need not tell you that. These are all the things which you have already studied, revise and come. So next, good governance index. On good governance, again, mark this also for your mains, governance paper lab. Why this is in news, Adina? From this year onwards, we have introduced a new concept called District Good Governance Index, and that is being introduced from Jammu and Kashmir. And Good Governance Day, December 25. December 25th is considered to be, it is marked and celebrated as Good Governance Day to mark the birth anniversary of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And prelims mains and more important for public administration. And for public administration students, I will share one document in our cover too. Simple. What are the objectives of Good Governance Index and what is the need for District Good Governance Index? And since Good Governance Index is very much in news this year, what was the outcomes of the Good Governance Index 2021? See, every year, Good Governance Index is being released. So this Good Governance Index is nothing but a uniform tool to assess the state of governance and impact of various programs and interventions in the states and union territories every year. And then every state, how the state is being governed. So they evolve some 10 indicators and parameters, and based on the parameters and indicators, 8 to 10 parameters, and in each parameter are there are 10 indicators. Based on 10, each indicator will have certain parameters. For example, there will be agricultural indicator. For assessing agricultural sector performance in a particular state, say take the case of Tamil Nadu. Agriculture sector, Tamil Nadu, how it has performed, how agriculture has been governed, to what extent the state has been successfully intervening, what was its outcome. These are studied through certain parameters. The agriculture indicator will have around 8 parameters. And the 8 parameters is scoring below. That we compared against the scoring of different states. That likewise, there are about 8 to 10 indicators. Based on this assessment, the states will be ranked and the states are given good governance award. Right? People in the good governance index, this can be used for your public administration. Either it can be asked in the question or it may be used for answer writing. So, ரொம்ப detailed the report la full படிக்காதீங்க. Just understand what is an objective, what it is, what is objective, and how it is calculated, and what is the need for such index. That's enough. So I'll share the document. We'll discuss in public class as well. But otherwise, ரொம்ப minor news. At the max, mains la கேட்கலாம். What is good governance? How good governance can be achieved? What is the status of good governance? Likewise, mains la ஏதாவது கேட்கலாம். Otherwise, it has no big importance. Clear?
Okay.
அதுக்கப்புறமா we have certain international issues like the Belarus refugee crisis and, as you know, Ukraine war. That region is very much in news. If a Belarus refugee crisis, what is the problem in Belarus refugee crisis? என்னப்பா பிரச்சனை பெலாரஸ்ல? What is the issue in Belarus? What do you mean by Belarus crisis, refugee crisis?
People from Ukraine are going to Belarus and they are not allowed. Belarus not.
Ukraine? No.
The second issue.
People from Middle East, from Turkey, from Beirut, from Iraq, from Syria. These people are going to Europe using Belarus as a via. They go to Belarus. From Belarus, they go to other European countries. So Poland closed its border, making thousands of people from Middle East crossing over the border and entering Europe. Angada problem ஆரம்பிச்சது. It's how the problem began. Why does Belarus do this? And Russia is supporting Belarus. The European nations, see, this has got a close connection with Ukraine war. Russia wanted a puppet government in Belarus. And Russia helped the previous president to rig the elections and come to power. Alexander Lukashenko. அது ஒரு மாதிரி யூரோப்பியன் யூனியன் imposed sanctions against Belarus because of the massive election rigging, and Belarus did not like that, and so in order to take revenge on European Union, Belarus என்ன பண்ணுச்சு, it indirectly invited all the refugees of the Middle East. நம்மளை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் வெஸ்ட் ஏஷியா, யூரோப் calls that as Middle East. Middle East crisis இருக்குல்ல, there is crisis in Syria, there is crisis in certain Kurdistan, Iraq crisis இருக்கு, then there is crisis in Iran, there is crisis in West Asia like Palestine and Israel. இங்க இருந்தெல்லாம் வந்து when people wanted to flee to Europe, Belarus opened its border and said that you come to Belarus, via Belarus you can use the land borders of the Belarus to cross over to Europe. And if you look into the map, Belarus is very close to, Belarus shares borders with Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. So they were, Belarus was encouraging people to cross over to Poland via Belarus. போங்க. Somehow you reach Belarus, மின்ஸ்க் வந்துரு, அங்கேருந்து நீ போலண்டுக்குள்ள போயிடலாம். இதுதான் லாஜிக். ஸோ இது வந்து this became an issue. இதுதான் பேசிக் இஷ்யூ. Forget about the issue as of now. For the prelims, go to the map. Map பார்த்துக்கோ. Which are all the countries that are littoral states of Black Sea, littoral states of Baltic Sea, then states which share borders with Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus, and the cities in Europe which are falling on the same latitude in this region. If there was any river systems. Major economic activity. Those are online, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Maps important, cities important. Cities பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் organized from east to west and north to south. Map பத்தில தெரியும். Sometimes they have asked this type of questions. Cities கேட்டிருக்காங்க, countries கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Littoral states of Baltic Sea, littoral states of Black Sea, both are in news, right? First of all, they are in news because of Belarus crisis, refugee crisis, as well as Ukraine war. Agapro, India, Central Asia, first summit. India has conducted a state level summit with the Central Asian leaders. Central Asian leaders are the former CIS countries, former Soviet republics. Now they are called as Central Asian republics, or the CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States. Because we are trying to, because they are very rich in oil and natural gas. So India is oil starving country, energy starving country, so we are moving closer to them. All right. I hope it's clear to you. Because Russia-Ukraine war, the Asian countries have taken a very different stand, including India. I think day before yesterday or Thursday, I suppose, Russia wanted India to support Russia in certain aspects of UN. India abstained, Security Council. against warning of Russia, against request of Russia, we abstain. So we are also having close interest in that, and Asian countries are taking a very different view. The Asian countries are of the view that we need not, this is a problem that is created by the Americans in Europe, and it is a problem of Europe, and Asian countries will not be involved in it like they were involved in the First World War and Second World War. Therefore, a Third World War is ruled out. Russia சொல்லும் நாங்க ஆல்ரெடி வேர்ல்டு வார்ல இருக்கோம் வச்சுக்க, let it be. But Asian countries are very clear, we will not go into this World War thing. So, Belarus refugee crisis and Ukraine crisis, both maps are important. Basically, let me reiterate, go to the maps of the Central Asian region, which are all the states which are littoral states of Baltic Sea and Black Sea, Adriatic Sea, then try to arrange Caspian Sea, and then try to understand the east, west and north, south map arrangement பார்த்துக்கோங்க, ஒரு pictographic வச்சுக்கோங்க, and various cities of this particular locality which are on the same latitude. This type of question is a very close cost question for the UPSC question center. ரெண்டு cities கொடுத்து இதெல்லாம் ஒரே latitude இருக்குன்ற மாதிரி கேக்குது. They ask this type of questions. Every periodical அது மாதிரி ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்பாங்க, latitude based. All right. And important economic activity. What is the major exports, major economic potential of that particular country? All right. Then similarly, Afghanistan. Afghanistan. Similarly, same way, Afghanistan, go to the map. Which are all the countries that are sharing borders with Afghanistan? Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Iran. Central Asia to China, Asia. அந்த பக்கம் வெஸ்ட் ஏசியால ஈரான், துர்க்மெனிஸ்தான், உஸ்பெகிஸ்தான் and தாஜிகிஸ்தான். And these are countries that border Afghanistan. Afghanistan ஏன் சொல்றேன்னு உங்களுக்கே தெரியும். Afghanistan has been taken over by Taliban. And this can be a question for your mains as well, international relations. அதுக்கு mains அப்ப நம்ம discuss பண்ணலாம். What will be the stand of how India is going to handle? So to some extent we have been able to, we are striking some equation with why should we support, why should we not oppose Russia with respect to Ukraine invasion? But now one of the main reasons என்னன்னா, India's relationship with Afghanistan can be routed through Russia only. The earliest countries to recognize Taliban rule were Russia, North Korea, China, and Pakistan. These four countries only, they immediately accepted them. அதுக்கப்புறமா Doha summit, Doha round of talks நடக்கும்போது these countries were instrumental. More importantly, Russia and China. For sure, we will not be able to get access to Afghanistan through Pakistan. Pakistan may not help us, and Pakistan has been vehemently opposing and is vociferously told that no, we will not. Russia, China will help பண்ணாது. That's why Russia is also, we have not opposed Russia. We have taken a different stand, even though America was pushing us. Anyway, அதுக்கப்புறமா there were certain conferences conducted, summits conducted with respect to the status of Afghanistan, that is a regional security dialogue. Regional Security Dialogue that was held first in September 2018 and then December 2019. Aprama 2021. India was not part of it. China, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. Other, except India, all the countries that are bordering Afghanistan. China, Iran, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan border, it doesn't border. But Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. Right? So these countries all discussed, and India was feeling that India must have been part of that. Right? So what is Durand line?
Border between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Afghanistan and Pakistan on the area of map is important, and impact of rise of Taliban in Afghanistan, implications for India, that will be for mains, that we shall discuss while doing mains. Now, we have also conducted a Delhi summit. Delhi dialogue, we had the regional security dialogue in Delhi, the Delhi declaration on Bodo. And we sent humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan also, which Pakistan allowed to transport it through Pakistan. Pakistan could allow. So for the prelims, try to understand history of Afghanistan. Who were all the Indian rulers who ruled from Peshawar? In the ancient Indian history, who were all the rulers who ruled from Peshawar? Then Taxila. Then Kandahar. These three cities are very much associated with Indian history, right? You cannot miss these cities in the NCERT ancient India book. The ancient India படிச்சனா இந்த மூணு cities touch பண்ண படிக்க முடியாது. Kanishka's capital என்ன? Kanishka's capital. Where did Kanishka rule from?
Peshawar.
Peshawar. So from when to when he ruled? Which dynasty he belongs to? And Taxila University, contemporary universities in Taxila. Again, these questions were very much asked in the previous year UPSC questions. Refer the previous year UPSC questions. You will understand how questions are or can be asked, how questions were asked, and how questions can be asked. Many a time, these type of questions are repeated. And better, first of all, before you recall whatever you have read in ancient India paper, go to the UPSC question paper, find out the questions relating to Taxila University, Peshawar, Nalanda, then Kanishka, Kandahar. There was a question asked, why did Jahangir wanted to capture Afghanistan? Indian history, one of the major weaknesses Akbar Kapra Jahangir, there's a question asked. He wanted to stop Afghanistan. Afghanistan he always wanted to stop people from Central Asia and see Khyber and Bolan passes were the two passes through which these guys came. He wanted to stop that. That was why he wanted to raise a standing army also. Even Alauddin Khilji. These informations are very much found in NCERT book, I'm telling you. This was once asked in the prelims. What was the reason for Jahangir to capture Kabul? He always wanted, he had an eye on Kabul. He always wanted to have Kabul under his control. Because he wanted to safeguard, the empire was weak at that point. So you have to stop your enemies. You cannot stop them after they have entered into your empire through the Khyber or Bolan Pass. Before that, you have to stop them means you need to have Afghanistan in your control. That's why they always wanted to have control over Kandahar and Afghanistan, Kabul. So in ancient Indian history, go to history, Afghanistan related. First of all, you you revise it from your NCERT books and do not forget to go to the previous year questions because there is more likely to repeat the question. All right. அடுத்தது Rezangla Memorial. See, Rezangla Memorial was renovated in 2021. It is located in Ladakh, Chushul Plains of Ladakh. And 2021, it is marking the 59th anniversary. And to commemorate the 60th anniversary this year, it was rebuilt. This was commemorating the China-India War of 1962. சைலண்டா இருக்கு பாரு. இப்ப பாகிஸ்தான் கூட வந்து வார் நடந்தது இல்ல, அதை வச்சுக்கிட்டு நம்ம ஆளுங்க என்ன பண்ணுவானுங்கன்னா பயங்கரமா விஜய் திவஸ் எல்லாம் கொண்டாடிட்டு they'll flex their muscles. In order to commemorate the 1971 war, the world's largest monumental national flag was designed and hoisted. China கூட கொண்டாடிதானே. They'll do that, but yet they are grabbing. இதெல்லாம் வந்து சும்மா Rezangla வந்து 1972 Kumayan Regiment of Indian Army resisted the Chinese army with very few number of people. In order to commemorate the courage that was displayed by the Kumayan Regiment, the Chushul Rezangla Memorial, or the Chushul Memorial was constructed. It was renovated. When India is trying to establish its authority over there. Again, the map comes into the picture. And the map, the ranges in Karakoram range. And I think I remember having shared with you a map. Ladakh, Zaskar. Again, it is coming into news. More likely. That's more likely to be asked. அதே மாதிரி அந்த ஏரியால இருக்கிற particularly காஷ்மீர்ல important glaciers, Dal Lake, because saffron is the local variety of saffron which was also in use. Did you go through that? Saffron. It's also from Ladakh region. Karakoram, Ladakh, Zaskar and Pir Panjal range. And the area saffron, ZAF saffron, the local variety of saffron is also in use. So Kashmir, saffron is in use, Chushul is in use. And already Kashmir is very much in use. The questions have not been asked much. Another thing, what we discussed about Kashmir, known about the news Kashmir. district good governance index. Is being for the first time it is being introduced. So look into those areas as well. The ranges. All right. Clear up. So next, monumental national flag. This is the world's largest national flag. It was made from khadi. சரி, இதுல இருந்து என்ன சார் கேட்க முடியும்? Flag code. What are the dimensions of national flag? Again, history. First of all, flag code பார்த்துக்கோங்க. Flag Code Act. Code, code. The flag code is very much in news because somebody was punished. Somebody was punished due to for violating flag code. அடுத்தது flag கோடுக்கு அப்புறம் the dimensions of flag. Then flag கோடுக்கு அப்புறமா dimensions of flag அப்புறமா this one we call that history. Who designed flag tricolor? When was it first hoisted? இதெல்லாம் பார்த்துச்சு. Okay. Remaining வந்துட்டு we shall discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow I shall discuss to you few schemes which are very much in news. But have I told you about Pandarpur? I remember having told you to talk about the Bhakti movement, Pandarpur, Vittala movement. Told you, right? Sure. Okay, so tomorrow we shall discuss a few schemes, then satellites. The satellites purpose, few schemes purpose. Then there are other aspects relating to election is also there. We'll look them tomorrow. All right. Today's PPT I'll share to you after the class. All right. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
நாளைக்கு பார்த்துட்டு வரணும் எல்லாத்தையும். It's important.